All right, if you or someone you know is in law school right now, the following story won't surprise you. The highest grossing U.S. law firm is projecting a 50% cut in its summer hiring for 2010. The number of first-round interviews for second- and third-year Harvard Law School students fell 20% this year, and this is Harvard we're talking about. The same thing is happening here in New York at NYU's law school. Callbacks for second interviews for law students are down dramatically, according to the school's Dean of Career Services. Many of the nation's brightest students who may have thought they could avoid the financial meltdown by going to law school instead of focusing on banking are facing the facts. The highest paying jobs just aren't there. And even worse, these students are now saddled with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. Allan Tanembaum is the chair of the American Bar Association's Commission on the Impact of the Economic Crisis, and he joins us now from Nashville. Allan, thanks for joining us. Let me ask you, I mean, is this a trend that we are just starting to see the beginning of, or something that's been really in the making since the start of the financial crisis at the end of 2007?
Well, I think we've got a trend here that's not going to end anytime soon. I think that you had the demand for legal services has just gone down, certainly in the big law firms, the big deals, the big clients. Their business is down. Some of the largest clients, the largest businesses, are out of business. So it's not surprising that law firms will cut back in terms of the people that they need to support the clients that they don't have.
So you do expect it to continue. This is not just we get through the next 6 to 12 months, but do you expect it to continue for, I don't know, a couple of years out here because of the impact we've seen as a result of this crisis?
I think it will continue, and it's compounded by the fact of the number of recent law school graduates who are unemployed right now. The graduating class in June of 2010, 2011, they're going to be competing for jobs with the class of 2009. So you've got a pyramid effect here that's going to create an overabundance of very, very qualified lawyers chasing the same limited number of jobs.
Why is this? Do you see really that much of a drop in demand for legal services? I mean, you would think that even in a recession, you still see lawsuits, and in some cases you're going to see more. Obviously, bankruptcy lawsuits must be rising. You need maybe a lawyer to deal with foreclosures. You need to sue people who stole your money, etc.
Well, that's the unfortunate part about this. The folks that you're talking about are predominantly folks of modest means, and there has always been a huge gap in this country between the availability of legal services for people of modest means versus the availability of legal services for large businesses, corporations, and high net worth individuals. So we're going to have an increased demand for services by folks that need it the most but can afford it the least. And we are hopeful, certainly the American Bar Association, that we can direct some of the energies of some unemployed and underemployed lawyers to volunteer their time to meet the challenge that's before us, which is the unmet legal needs of low-income and modest means individuals in this country.
Allan?
I'm hopeful that yes.
You know, let me just break in for a second, because maybe we shouldn't be surprised at that we're seeing, you know, cutbacks or students having a tough time finding jobs. I mean, every industry, it seems like, was impacted as a result of this recession and financial crisis. But what is most remarkable about these numbers that you're hearing when it comes to the graduating classes, you know, not finding jobs and so on?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure it's remarkable. I think that because of the publicity and the existence of very high-paid entry-level jobs for a relatively small portion of the legal community in the law firms of this country, that it gets a lot of attention. We need to remember that most of the lawyers practice law in firms of 5 or less. They practice not in urban settings, but in rural settings, so that the large mega law firms in the metropolitan cities really represent a small percentage of the lawyers of this country. The average income of a lawyer in this country is probably 50% of the starting salaries of first-year lawyers on Wall Street.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Allan, thank you so much for finding time for us. Allan Tanembaum of the ABA.